Hello, hey you guys. Wow, busy day for me. Just so much going on. Beautiful morning, beautiful day so far. So I just thought I'd reach out and do my little thing that I do for you, for me, for us. A little chat and a short reading and probably going to skip the meditation today. Hey Margot, so you know, why would anybody be interested in self-discovery? Why would anybody be interested in awakening or enlightenment or consciousness? That's for me, I didn't come to this. It seems to me that I didn't come to the search because of some inner drive. I came to it because my life, in when I was still drinking and using, was a mess, and I knew that I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to be here, and so that was for me why I began the pursuit. It wasn't just like, oh gosh, I didn't feel some pull. I was uncomfortable living in this, and I got enough in the early days in recovery to know that there was a way to live in peace, and I was. In my story, I say, it took me a long time to kind of awaken, and yet I think that for what's happened for me to happen to anybody, while they're still, in form, I think is amazing, and I'm so grateful because the awakening that's come has been mind-blowing, no pun intended. and so, but the question, in the 12-step world, we talk about sobriety. And to me, sobriety, the word sobriety or sober, is interchangeable with awakening, with consciousness, with awareness. When we turn the face around instead of looking out and look in, and we, from looking in, we see that we are one with all things, and we have the, what was driving us crazy was the crazy mind, right? And some of you might realize that, it's like, oh my gosh, my thinking is, what do I do with my thinking? How do I manage my thinking? And many of us have tried to manage it with drugs and alcohol, with diversions, with hobbies, with and so a lot of what we've done in our life is to try to get away from the crazy mind, and this, maybe it doesn't apply with everybody. Maybe I think it applies to everybody, but sometimes we're so deep in the diversion we can't see it. We're so deep in being possessed by our thoughts that we can't see it, or are not ready to see it. But some of us, I just actually had a young fella come today because we were looking for a roommate. And he talked about his story, about how at like 22, he realized that he was just, that he was crazy. He was having fear. He was being possessed by night fears and terror and waking up, and his mind was just driving him crazy. And so he sold everything and went for a walkabout. It was kind of a neat story. And he's back in Calgary, and I'm not sure if he's going to live with us or not, but he realized that he had to do something, and but he had an overdose of a certain religious training as a child, brought up in a very, very strict, kind of a religious family, and he knew that wasn't it for him. So, I think that what I want to share with people is how to have this experience of oneness with a God that we understand or don't understand, with the universal intelligence, however you want to call it, the oneness, the isness, that, how to have that experience, not a belief. I'm not interested in giving you something to believe in. Hey, Jason, I'm not interested in what you believe in. My aim, my goal is to help people have the experience of this oneness, to feel it, to realize, to become self-realized. And that, for us in the recovery world, that's sobriety, just not drinking or just not using, or is not what we're looking for, and for many of us, I mean, it's great, it's a good start. But yeah, there's more. My buddy Nathaniel was sharing with me that today, in another book that we sometimes read from, the Daily Reflections, there was a great reading about this. And I had a look at it. I thought it would be appropriate to read. So this is in the Daily Reflections book, that Book of Reflections by AA members for AA members. It was, and it's a pretty nice little reading. December 5th, from this book, The New State of Consciousness. So the reading says, he has been granted a gift that amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, a new state of consciousness. I was talking to my daughter the other day, and we're talking about, coming from a platform or a operating system of fear and doubt and guilt and shame and anger to a new platform or a new operating system of love and joy and acceptance and compassion. Now, knowing that all the arrows point towards that. That's where we're going, to this God consciousness. But we seem to get mixed up in our mind about this God business. So we'll talk more about that. But consciousness, let's call God consciousness, just for today, or love, just for today, and work from there. And then reading a little more from this reading here, many of us in the 12-step world puzzle over what is a spiritual awakening. And he says, I tended to look for a miracle, something dramatic and earth-shattering. We like that. We like, big things, yes, burning bush experience. But what usually happens is that a sense of well-being, a feeling of peace, transforms us into a new level of awareness. That's what happened to me. My insanity and inner turmoil disappeared, and I entered into a new dimension of hope, love, and peace. The fourth dimension, baby. Yes. Hey, good morning. Yeah, the fourth dimension. And entered into a new dimension of hope, love, and peace. I think the degree to which I continue to experience this new dimension is in direct proportion to the sincerity, depth, and devotion with which I practice the 12 steps of AA. So, but that can be achieved in lots of other practices. But in that particular, that we're talking about the 12 steps, and because it is there, we can be skyrocketed. We can be rocketed into the fourth dimension of reality, and that's what we want, is to be rocketed into a new dimension, a new platform, a new operating system, and based on love. And okay, so I'm going to read now from this little book, the 24-hour day book, which I've just realized I've been saying was written in 54, but the truth is it was written in 1948. I just got a whole bunch of new literature on the author. It's pretty cool. Okay, December 5th, thought for the day. In spite of all we learned in AA, and all our old way of thinking comes back on us, sometimes with overwhelming force, and occasionally some of us have slips. We forget or refuse to call on the higher power for help. We seem to deliberately make our minds a blank so far as AA training goes. And we take a drink. We eventually get drunk. We are temporarily right back where we started from. Those who have had slips say unanimously that they were no fun. They were no fun. They say AA has taken all the pleasure to drinking. Usually the pleasure has gone out of drinking long before we got to the 12 steps, but they know they're doing the wrong thing. The old mental conflict was back in full force. They are disgusted with themselves. And the question from the thought for the day is, am I convinced that I can never get anything more out of drinking? Meditation for today. Give something to those who are having trouble, to those whose thoughts are confused. Something of your sympathy, your prayers, your time, your love, your thought, yourself. Then give of your own confidence. Then give of your own confidence as you have had it given to you by the grace of God. Give of yourself and of your loving sympathy. Give your best to those who need it and will accept it. Give according to need, never according to never according to deserts. Give according to need, never according to deserts. Remember that giving of advice can never take the place of giving of self. So, there's lots of what we, in all the 12-step literature, there's lots of instruction on how that we can help others. The basis of how we help others. Prayer for the day. I pray that that as I have received, so may I give. I pray that I may have the right answer to those who are confused. I pray that I might have the right answer to those who are confused. Beautiful. Beautiful. So the path, you guys, is if hopefully I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if this helps me, and hopefully some of you are getting something from this, and it's for me to do this reading every day and to have a little chat brings me present, brings me into the moment. Nothing else is happening for me but this. So, thanks. We're not going to meditate together today. I'm going to catch the sun. So, love you lots. And we'll be back tomorrow morning for a little reading and more meditation tomorrow on Sunday. Okay? Thanks, you guys. Love you, love you, love you. Call anytime. Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. Appreciate that. Call anytime you want to chat. Anybody that's listening, or I'm available to talk about life, love, consciousness, anytime. Cheers.